Hello everyone, and welcome to my Beyond the Gates official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. On Christmas Day, the meticulously crafted harmony of Fairmont Crest, America's most iconic planned community, is shattered by a violent home invasion, exposing the dark secrets, hidden gateways, and profound inequalities lurking just beneath its pristine surface, forcing the intertwined residents to confront the terrifying truth about the paradise they bought into. Genre: suburban gothic / sociological thriller / mystery drama. Tone: a fusion of The White Lotus's acidic social satire, Big Little Lies' suspenseful domestic secrecy, Get Out's unsettling social horror, and The Truman Show's pervasive artifice. Setting: Fairmont Crest. Conceived in the late 1980s as the ultimate American dream, it is a master-planned community 30 miles from a major metropolitan city. It is entirely enclosed by imposing wrought iron gates and manicured hedges, patrolled by a private, omnipresent security force known as the Sentinels. Within, architectural styles are strictly regulated: transitional Tudor, modern farmhouse, neoclassical. The lawns are chemically perfect. The community boasts its own artificial lake, a members-only clubhouse, the Crest, hiking trails that never leave the boundaries, and a village square with curated, upscale chain stores. It is a diorama of success. But there are cracks: the original section, larger lots, older money, versus the new enclaves, smaller for the aspirational. The service roads used by the largely immigrant maintenance staff, and whispered about green spaces on the community map that seem to have no physical access points. Central mystery and theme: the home invasion is not random. It is a violent rupture that begins to unravel the community's foundational lie. Fairmont Crest is not just a haven, it is a social experiment and a lucrative ecosystem built on a hierarchy its residents willingly ignore. The invasion forces a collision between the front stage, perfect lives, and the backstage, hidden truths. Themes include the cost of curated safety, the commodification of community, the architecture of inequality, and the monsters created by exclusion. Characters: the Harmon family, victims / triggers of invasion. Graham Harmon, 50 CFO of a green energy tech firm. A striver who moved to Fairmont Crest 5 years ago as the ultimate badge of success. Pragmatic, image-conscious, secretly drowning in debt due to keeping up appearances. Elena Harmon, 40's former interior designer, now full-time Crest mom. In charge of the family's social capital. She curates their home and lives with terrifying precision. The invasion breaks her perfect facade. Zoe Harmon, 17, a perceptive, sardonic teen who finds Fairmont Crest suffocating. She uses her photography to document the uncanny valley of her environment. She may have seen something crucial in the days leading up to Christmas. Danny Harmon, a quiet, observant boy who builds elaborate fantasy worlds with his action figures, often staging battles between keepers and invaders. His imaginary friends have unsettlingly accurate details about the community's layout. The Sentinels, the Guardians. Chief Vance Crosby, 60s head of security. Ex-military, with a calm, paternal demeanor that borders on cult-like. He speaks of Fairmont Crest as a sacred trust. He knows every secret, every infidelity, every financial woe. The invasion is a personal and professional blasphemy. Officer Leah Rivera, 30s, a Fairmont Crest native, the daughter of the head groundskeeper. She earned her place in the Sentinels through merit, but is treated with a mix of tokenism and suspicion by residents. She is the only one who moves seamlessly between both worlds, making her the audience's key investigator. She knows the physical and social blueprints of the Crest better than anyone. The neighbors, the web of complicity. Arthur and Beatrice Lockwood, 70s, the first residents. Arthur was the lawyer who helped draft the community's original, notoriously restrictive covenants. They are the living archives of Fairmont Crest. Their benign, grandparently exterior masks a fanatical belief in the original vision. Chloe and Mark Danner, 30s/40s influencers/Crestfluencers. They monetize their perfect life within the gates, #CrestLife. The invasion is both a trauma and, terrifyingly, a potential content opportunity. Their need to control the narrative clashes with the investigation. Dr. Anika Patel, 40, is a brilliant, lonely epidemiologist who moved in after her divorce. She approaches the community as a case study in human social clustering. She begins to notice unsettling patterns, health issues, sleep cycles, behavioral conformity that she suspects are not accidental. The other side, outside the gates. Miguel, 40's head of the groundskeeping crew, has worked at Fairmont Crest for 20 years. He raised Leah here, in the off-site dormitories provided for staff. He possesses a quiet, profound knowledge of the land the crest was built upon and what was buried to make way for it. Kelso, 50's, a disheveled, cynical detective from the county sheriff's office, called in due to the severity of the crime. He despises Fairmont Crest's insularity and its tendency to handle matters in-house. He sees the community itself as a crime scene. Pilot episode, A Fairmont Christmas, detailed treatment. Act I, the perfect snow globe. We open on a sweeping, drone-like shot of Fairmont Crest on Christmas morning, blanketed in perfect, machine-made snow. Voiceover from Chief Crosby's annual Crestmas address plays over the PA system. A season of gratitude for the peace and security we cultivate together, a refuge from the chaos beyond our gates. We glide into the Harmon home. It is a masterpiece of festive decor, a architectural digest spread come to life. The family goes through the motions of a perfect morning, Graham checking stock prices on his phone, Elena filming a Christmas morning magic vlog, Zoe rolling her eyes, Danny lining up his figures on the windowsill, staring out. The tension is palpable but unspoken, buried under wrapping paper and forced smiles. Later, at the Lockwoods' annual Christmas open house, we meet the ensemble. Arthur toasts to keeping the flame of our unique experiment alive. Chloe Danner stages a photo shoot by the fireplace. Dr. Patel quietly observes the social rituals, counting drinks and measuring laughter. Officer Rivera, in uniform, stands politely in the corner, receiving polite but distant nods. Graham steps outside for air and has a tense, hushed phone call about a margin call. He doesn't see a shadowy figure watching from the tree line, a figure Danny might have been drawing earlier. Act 2. The glass shatters. Night falls. The Harmon house is dark, full of new gadgets and empty cheer. Elena is in her pristine home office, deleting the day's vlog footage because her smile looked strained. Zoe is in her room, scrolling through photos she took that day, a close-up of a sentinel's emotionless face, a shot of a maintenance door hidden in a hedge, a picture of Danny's figures arranged in a disturbing, ritualistic circle. Downstairs, Graham pours a large drink. The only sound is the hum of the refrigerator. Then, a crash from the sunroom. Not a break-in, but a collapse. Figures in dark, nondescript clothing, their faces obscured by grotesque, distorted animal masks, a wolf, a boar, a bear, are already inside. The violence is swift, brutal, and shockingly intimate. It's not a robbery. They bypass obvious valuables. They terrify. They demand a specific item, a small, antique safe from Graham's study, one we've never seen. Graham, in panic, insists he doesn't have it. The lead invader, Wolf Mask, whispers something to him. The gates work both ways, Graham. Before they vanish into the backyard, Wolf Mask pauses by Danny's doorway. The boy is awake, frozen. The invader tilts his head, then places one of Danny's own action figures, a knight, carefully on the threshold, before melting into the night. The alarm, inexplicably, never sounds. Act 3. The gates close. Elena's blood-curdling scream finally pierces the silence. Blue and red lights flood the house, but they're the private lights of the sentinels. Chief Crosby arrives first, his face a mask of grim fury. He takes control, speaking into his radio. Breach at 42 Maple. Implement protocol Silver Bells. No external calls. I repeat, contained to internal comms. County 911 is not called. The sentinels cordon off the house. The neighbors, drawn by the lights, gather in hushed, terrified clusters. Chloe Danner, horrified, instinctively lifts her phone to film before Mark stops her. Dr. Patel watches the Sentinel response with clinical fascination, noting its efficiency and its isolationism. By the time Detective Kelso's county cruiser is reluctantly allowed through the main gate after a 15-minute verification delay, the crime scene has been curated. Crosby presents a sanitized version. A botched burglary, traumatized family, investigation underway. Kelso sniffs the air, sees the perfectly coordinated staff, the residents' uniform terror, and knows he's being lied to. He finds Zoe shivering outside, not with a blanket offered by a neighbor, but clutching her camera. She shows him her photos. One, taken that afternoon, shows a figure in maintenance coveralls standing in the Lockwood's rarely used side garden, holding what looks like a rolled-up blueprint, talking to a sentinel. The sentinel is Officer Leah Rivera. Act 4. The Fault Lines. The final act crosscuts between the immediate aftermath. In the Harmon house, Graham is shell-shocked, but a strange, calculating fear is in his eyes, not just of the invaders, but of Crosby. Elena's trauma manifests as a frenzied need to clean, to restore order, scrubbing at an invisible speck on the floor. Zoe is interrogated by Crosby, his paternal tone now feeling coercive. For the good of the Crest, some things are best kept in the family, he says, glancing at her camera. Danny hasn't spoken a word. He just rearranges his figures. The knight given by the invader is now facing off against all the others. Meanwhile, Leah Rivera is grilled by Kelso in the Sentinel precinct. The photo is damning. She explains she was speaking to Miguel, her father. He was showing her an old land survey, worried about subsidence under the Lockwood's garden. Kelso doesn't buy it. He accuses her of being the inside person. Crosby, listening from the doorway, defends her, but his defense feels like a threat. Later, Leah, reeling, visits Miguel in the Spartan staff dormitory. He is grim. Mija, this was a message. The ground is always unstable where graves are forgotten. He reveals a piece of the truth. Fairmont Crest was built on contested land, with a violent history of displacement, and the original deal with the town included secret clauses, private arrangements for security and autonomy. The gates are not just physical, they are legal, jurisdictional. In the final scene, Graham, unable to sleep, goes to his home office. He moves a panel in the wall, revealing the antique safe, the one the invaders demanded. He opens it. Inside is not money or jewels, but a single, yellowed parchment, a covenant, and a USB drive. He plugs it in. A video feed appears, showing a live, black and white camera angle of the entrance to the Lockwood's house. He scrolls through. He has access to dozens of secret cameras hidden throughout Fairmont Crest. He has been watching. He has been complicit. And he is not the only one. The camera pulls back from his horrified face, out the window, across the slumbering, lit-up houses, each hiding their own secrets, and finally rests on the main gate. From this high angle, the layout of Fairmont Crest is revealed to mirror an ancient, symbolic design, a mandala for control or a prison yard. Fade to black. Series arc, Season 1. The season explores the fallout of the invasion. Each episode peels back a layer of the community and a character. Episode 2 to 3. The search for the invaders turns inward, breeding paranoia. The Danners launch a #CrestStrong campaign, exploiting the trauma. Dr. Patel begins data mining community health records, finding anomalies. Episode 4 to 5. Leah and Kelso form an uneasy alliance to investigate from both sides of the gate. They discover the green spaces on the map are underground maintenance tunnels, a secret circulatory system used by sentinels and staff. Episodes 6 to 7. The history of the land is revealed through Miguel and the Lockwoods. The original vision involved not just exclusion, but a form of utopian social engineering. The invaders are possibly linked to descendants of the displaced, or to a rogue element within the Crest's own founding structure. Episode 8 to 9. The power grid of the Crest mysteriously fails, plunging the community into darkness and chaos, mimicking the initial invasion. This is a stress test, revealing who is really in control. Episode 10. The season finale reveals that the invasion was orchestrated by a cabal of the original founders, including Arthur Lockwood, to reinforce the gates. A controlled burn to remind residents of the external threat and justify a draconian new security upgrade, which will install surveillance and control measures they previously would have rejected. Graham is forced to choose between exposing the truth and his own complicity, or accepting a promotion into the inner circle. Zoe and Danny, the true innocents, discover the ultimate secret. There is a literal, physical gate at the bottom of the community lake, a forgotten exit or entrance. The invaders came from within the dream all along. Visual style. Immaculate, symmetrical compositions slowly degrading into shaky, claustrophobic close-ups. A color palette of oppressive greens, sterile whites, and festive reds that eventually look like blood. The score is a mix of eerie, synthesized Christmas carols and unsettling ambient drones. Beyond the Gates is a thriller about the home invasion that asks, what if your dream home was also a prison? And what if the guards and the inmates were the same people? It's a story about the American desire for safety and community, twisted into a gothic nightmare of control, where the most terrifying thing isn't what comes from outside the gates, but what is willingly cultivated within them. The true foundation of Fairmont Crest is not brick and mortar, but a document known as the Feldspar Accords, named for the quartz-like stone found on the original property, meant to symbolize permanence and clarity. Drafted in 1987 by Arthur Lockwood and a consortium of investors, including a reclusive tech visionary, a dubious land developer, and a behavioral psychologist, the Accords go far beyond standard HOAs. They are a social contract with teeth, outlining not just paint colors and lawn height, but a philosophy of curated living. The Accords posit that human happiness and success are optimized through controlled environmental inputs, aesthetic harmony, regulated social interaction, and perceived safety. The community is, in essence, a gated garden for human potential, but only for a certain kind of human. The Accords contain secret annexes, including Annex B, the Sentinel Mandate, which grants the security force extraordinary powers of discretion, including the right to handle criminal matters internally to preserve community morale and property values, and Annex C, the Culling Clause, a pseudo-legal provision allowing for the quiet, financial forcing out of residents who consistently fail to uphold the Crest spirit, e.g., filing too many complaints, suffering public financial disgrace. Fostering dissent. The home invasion is the first event in the Crest's history that cannot be contained by the Accords framework, causing a systemic crisis. The invaders. Who are they and what do they want? They are not conventional criminals. Their tactics are psychological warfare. Their masks, we later learn, are hand-carved from the root balls of the old-growth trees that were cleared to build Fairmont Crest. They represent the spirits of